6 p.m. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The Foreign Office spokesperson says uninterrupted dialogue is the only way forward for resolution of all disputes between Pakistan and India. Professor Hassan Askari has been appointed Caretaker Chief Minister of the Punjab and Alauddin Mari, Caretaker Chief Minister of Balochistan. The Supreme Court has appointed Atazaz Ehsan as amicus curiae in a case pertaining to shortage of water in the country. At the United Nations, Pakistan has called for adding electable non-permanent seats to the Security Council, reflecting interests of all member states. Pakistan beat Malaysia by 147 runs in the Women T20 Asia Cup tournament at Kuala Lumpur today. And now the news in detail. Pakistan says uninterrupted dialogue is the only way forward for the resolution of all disputes with India. At the weekly news briefing in Islamabad today, the Foreign Office spokesperson Dr. Mohammad Faisal said Pakistan desires to address issues through dialogue, but the Indian side has never reciprocated to Pakistan's offer. About the Indus Water Basin Treaty, the spokesperson said Pakistan will continue to agitate with the World Bank over the construction of controversial dams by India on Pakistani waters. To a question about the test firing of different ballistic missiles by India, the spokesperson said New Delhi has triggered an arms race in the region. He said Pakistani forces are fully prepared to respond to any Indian aggression. He, however, said the Indian side needs to demonstrate maturity in its conduct. The spokesperson strongly condemned Indian atrocities and curbs on internet and movement of people in occupied Kashmir. He said the world community and human rights defenders should take notice of the situation in the occupied valley. Dr. Mohammad Faisal rejected the Indian objections to recent Gilgit-Baltistan order challenging India to allow plebiscite in the disputed territory of Kashmir to gauge the aspirations of the people. The spokesperson also rejected Afghanistan's concerns on Fatah's merger, saying this is an internal matter of Pakistan. He strongly condemned the recent suicide attack in Kabul. President Mamnoon Hussain will visit China on Saturday to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. According to the Foreign Office spokesperson, the president will also meet his Chinese counterpart and discuss all matters of bilateral relations. On the sidelines of the summit, the president will also hold meetings with the leaders of other SCO member states. Professor Hassan Askari has been appointed the Caretaker Chief Minister of the Punjab and Alauddin Mari the Caretaker Chief Minister of Balochistan. The Election Commission official made the announcements following two separate meetings of the Commission on the matter in Islamabad today. The appointments have been made in accordance with Article 224 of the Constitution. The name of Hassan Askari was recommended by the opposition in the Punjab, whilst that of Alauddin Mari by the Balochistan government. Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz has rejected the selection of Professor Hassan Askari as the Caretaker Chief Minister Punjab by the Election Commission of Pakistan, saying he is not a neutral person. The announcement was made by former Prime Minister and PMLN leader Shahid Khaqan Abbasi while addressing a news conference along with other party leaders, Ehsan Iqbal, Khwaja Saad Rafiq, Khurram Dastagir Khan and Maryam Aurangzeb in Lahore this afternoon. Shahid Khaqan Abbasi said Hassan Askari's views expressed in television talk shows and articles reflect his partiality in favor of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and against the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. He cited a recent article of Hassan Askari in which he sought delay in the elections. The caretaker Prime Minister Nasser al-Mulk has directed to evolve a comprehensive strategy for addressing petroleum-related issues for the consideration of the incoming elected government. He made these directions while chairing a briefing on petroleum in Islamabad today. The Prime Minister also asked the authorities concerned to work out a plan to meet any emergent situation as per the mandate of the caretaker government. Secretary Petroleum briefed the caretaker Prime Minister about the petroleum sector with special focus on production and sector-wise consumption of gas and petroleum products in the country. A three-member bench of the Supreme Court, headed by the Chief Justice, Mr. Justice Mia Saqib Nisar, today heard a case pertaining to shortage of water. Atazaz Ehsan was appointed as amicus curiae by the Apex Court, who will give his recommendations on water-related issues in 10 days' time. The Chief Justice, in his remarks, said seminars and workshops will also be held regarding water scarcity. The hearing of the case has now been adjourned till the 21st of this month. A three-member bench of the Supreme Court, headed by the Chief Justice Mia Saqib Nisar, heard the case on election ineligibility of former President Pervez Musharraf in Islamabad today. In his remarks, the Chief Justice said acceptance of nomination papers of Pervez Musharraf is subject to his appearance in the court. The Accountability Court Islamabad has rejected the application of former Prime Minister Mohammad Nawaz Sharif for exemption from appearance in event field reference. Earlier, Nawaz Sharif, Maryam Nawaz, and retired Captain Safdar had requested for exemption from appearance from the 11th to the 15th of this month. Gilgit-Baltistan budget, with a total outlay of 63.856 billion rupees for the fiscal year 2018-2019, was presented in Gilgit-Baltistan Legislative Assembly today. The Finance Minister Mohammad Akbar Taban presented the budget. An amount of 31.644 billion rupees has been allocated for non-development and 17 billion rupees for development projects and 7.9 billion rupees for public sector development program. This is Radio Pakistan. Pakistan has called for strengthening representation of elected members of the UN Security Council rather than weakening their existing role. These views were expressed by Pakistan's permanent representative to the United Nations, Dr. Maliha Lodhi, while addressing the intergovernmental negotiations aimed at reforming the 15-member body to make it more representative, efficient, and effective. Maliha Lodhi said the Security Council can be made more broadly representative by adding electable non-permanent seats, which would reflect the interests of all the member states. Criticizing those member states who aspire to secure permanent seats in the Council, she said addition of permanent seats to the Council will only serve self-interests of a few countries at the expense of many others. Ambassador Lodhi also called for reinvigorating the vital institutional relationship between Security Council and the General Assembly. 3 police personnel were martyred and 2 others injured in a bomb blast in Lal Killa area of District Lower Dir today. According to the police, a police mobile van was patrolling in the area when the terrorists targeted it through a remote control bomb. A terrorist has been arrested from Karkhano area of Peshawar today. According to Counter-Terrorism Department, he was wanted for firing on the police in 2014. In Afghanistan, President Ashraf Ghani announced a 2-week unconditional ceasefire with the Taliban today. In a message on Twitter after a televised address, he said this ceasefire is an opportunity for the Taliban to introspect that their violent campaign is not winning them hearts and minds, but further alienating them. The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has welcomed the understanding reached between the United Nations agencies and Myanmar government on creating conducive conditions for voluntary and safe return of Rohingya refugees to their homes in Rakhine State. Myanmar signed a memorandum of understanding with United Nations agencies, UNHCR, UNDP, yesterday to create conducive conditions for voluntary, safe, and dignified and sustainable return of Rohingya refugees from Bangladesh and reintegrate them in the country. In a statement, the UN's chief reiterated his call for an end to the violence against the Rohingyas, accountability for perpetrators, and redressal of grievances for the victims. Cricket. And the Women T20 Asia Cup, Pakistan beat Malaysia by 147 runs at Kuala Lumpur today. Batting first, Pakistan women scored 177 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. In reply, Malaysia women were all out for just 30 runs in 18.4 overs. And finally, the weather. Very hot and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain, thunder showers with gusty winds is expected at a few places in Gujranwala Division, Kashmir, and its adjoining areas. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.